how they're going to behave. I have the right to wear what I want, dance how I want, drink what I want. I'm not responsible for somebody's decision on how they perceive what my intentions are.
And that it's not about sex.
It is not about sex. It's about power and control. It's about how do I keep power? How do I have control over this situation? It's not about wanting to fulfill a physical need.
And I just want to get the gentleman involved because we have some more myths to go through. But to the point, Matt, in terms of hearing the story about what happened, she did not tell police at the time, or Jack, she didn't tell police at the time what happened. So now there's a perpetrator. I'm not blaming her, but there's a perpetrator loose. Could she now identify him, and could something happen?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. The laws changed a few years ago to allow for the statute of limitations to be extended to at least 5 years beyond an 18th birthday. There's a lot of everything we've talked about, the fears, the myths, the stigma that's attached. You spoke to Jen about some of her friends not noticing, not seeing, not being aware. Once the victim is able to communicate those things, and the ball starts rolling, we certainly can go back and catch the bad guys years later.
And to that point, Matt, catching the bad guys, because juries are looking for specific things, it makes it kind of difficult.
Well, jurors are people that are affected by some of those myths that you just put up on the screen, just
we'll
like
have more
everybody
in a few
else
moments,
is.
yeah.
You know, those and a lot of other misconceptions that people have about sex crimes. So those are all things that we have to contend with when we're bringing a case to the grand jury and ultimately to a trial. So, but we're very fortunate in this community because we have. When Bill Fitzpatrick was elected district attorney in about 1992, one of the first things he did was form the Special Victims Bureau to have assistant DAs specifically trained in working with sex crimes all the time. And we're very fortunate because we have the city police department, the Syracuse Police Department, and the Onondaga County Sheriff's Office who have a specialized unit, the Abused Persons Unit. And we're very fortunate because we have Vera House and we have the McMahon Ryan Child Advocacy Center. So in this community, those are things that a lot of communities still don't have, and we've been fortunate enough to have them for many, many years here and have a partnership with all these different entities to really try to bring the best service that we can to a victim and who is in all likelihood going through one of the most difficult times in their life. So with all these agencies working together, when you have someone who can have an advocate with them immediately after law enforcement's involved and can have a specialized exam by at the University Hospital Care Clinic by a nationally renowned expert like Dr. Ann Botash, and have a detective from Jack's unit who has been specializing in investigating these kinds of cases for 5, 10, 15 years, that makes for better cases. Yeah, it really does, and cases that we are more likely to be able to successfully prosecute.
But it begins with having the courage, perhaps having the willingness to speak up, and we'll continue our conversation about this, shattering myths about rape and sexual assault, and what you can do, more importantly, to get help in a moment. You're watching CI.
MI5 doesn't do evil, just treachery, treason, and Armageddon.
You said no acts of terror.
We move. This bomb does not go off.
There is someone in this building who is seriously disloyal.
Are we running an MI5 inside MI5 here?
What is it? Your real name?
Hope you're as good as you think you are.
Don't worry, I'm better.
The consequences of this could be horrendous. MI5.
Thursday night at 10 here on WCNY.
This fall on PBS, director Ken Burns changes parks.
There's a drive to deep right center. This may be gone.
Don't miss the all-new 10th inning of baseball.
Coming this fall to WCNY.
Welcome back. In Onondaga County, there were over 700 reported cases of sexual assault. We emphasize reported because most victims never tell anyone. We're joined by Jennifer Majeski. She's a survivor of rape. Also joining us is Jennifer Shaw from Vera House, Matt Dorn from the Onondaga County District Attorney's Office Special Victims Bureau, and Sergeant Jack Schmidt. He's from the Abused Persons Unit of the Onondaga County Sheriff's Department. Let's go back to some of the myths about rape and sexual assault. And here they are. Most victims are raped by someone they don't know. Women cry rape to get even with men or protect their reputations, and men can't be sexually assaulted. I would think that most people, 1 and 2 would be, Jen, right up there with people's most, that's what they think.
Yeah. What we know about falsely reporting an incident of rape is that it's between 2 and 8% of those that are reported end up being falsely reported, and that could be for a variety of reasons. So you have the rest of the reports that have truth to it, that have validity. Now, whether or not it's able to be then prosecuted and investigated, that's not the point. But the point is that there's truth to being sexually assaulted, the courage to come forward and say that this happened, and knowing that so many more rapes, so many more sexual assaults do not go reported to the police, such as in Jen's case.
80% of rapes occur between people who know each other.
Yes, yes. That
the attacker
familiar.
knows the assailant, etc.
Yes, that the victim knows who the perpetrator is, whether they've met as acquaintances, whether it's in a dating situation, also in marital situations. They know that. So the idea that there's this stranger lurking, or that there's serial rapists, that is true. But it's
you just said
you
said a word that people, she slipped it in there. Let's talk about it.
Sure.
One of the myths is that rape can't occur between people in a marriage or ongoing sexual relationship, and rape and sexual assault are easy to prosecute. We heard that it isn't, but we'll find out why more in a minute. But in a marriage,
yes.
A lot of people aren't understanding that.
Sure.
That as a marital couple, I'm entitled to have what I'm supposed to have, is what men believe.
Right. Well, it's what people
both of you
believe.
Everybody believes that.
Sure.
So no.
When I say my marital vows, when I agree to marry a person, that doesn't then entitle that person to me at any time, any place. It doesn't.
Which is what we believe societally.
Right. That somehow I then become property, or my partner, whoever that may be, because wives can also rape their husbands. That somehow that is property, that I'm entitled to have sex with my wife or my husband anytime because we're married.
I mean, obviously you hear this, you see this. Very difficult for, do juries get that too?
Well, part of what we do is we try to educate juries, and that's a big thing. It's a big aspect of any criminal case and any trial, is to help educate the jury on some of the issues surrounding it. But with sexual assault, it tends to be a little different. Let me give you a hypothetical. Okay, and I do this when we're picking a jury. Okay, if there's a report made and a woman is